There's a new tool that is showing you what smart money is buying and when they're buying, and also what they're selling and when they're selling. This means that you can be making daily profits by following what these intelligent investors are doing. Let me break down how you can use the Smart Money tab on Nansen to finally kick those profits into overdrive. So let's jump in and see how it works. When you land on Nansen, you're hit with this page, which is the 24-hour market overview, which is nice because it gives you a good bit of stats when it comes down to the overview. But to the right, NFT Smart Money. Now in this tab, the way that it works is it tracks what the smart money buyers in the space are doing, whether they're buying or selling. Now we can see here that currently Artblocks is being bought up a bunch, and it's bought up by this one person. So if we actually click on their wallet, we can actually see who they are and what they're doing. And we can see here that it's Pranksy. So what Pranksy is currently doing is he's buying up a lot of Artblocks. That's what he's seeing is moving. And this is actually right now, we can see that it is 4 minutes ago, and this was updated 3 minutes ago. And if we bump through, what we can see is we can see some minting and we can see some selling. So back over and having a look at Pranksy, we can see what he's buying, what he's currently holding. Now, the reason that I like this new Smart Money tab is the fact that it not only shows you what they're minting or buying, but also selling. So the reason that this is important is if the public are FOMOing into a project, you're able to get a chance about what people are actually selling out of. So if we bump across, we can see that there are a lot of sales on Wizards and Dragons game. So I'm not saying that Wizards and Dragon game is over, but what it is showing you is it shows you where the thought process of the smart money is. So what you can do is when they're minting into a project, you can actually mint into the project. And if you keep an eye out on this, when they sell the project, you can also sell out of the project because you know that they have seen maybe what a peak would be, or they think that there isn't too much of a run up and they kind of want to take some liquidity and put it back in their pocket. So it's a very good tool for being able to kind of see the trend before it's happening. And it's essentially in real time when it comes down to it, which is nice to see that you've got a tool where you can kind of see what people are doing with their money. Now, the other aspects on this tab is we can see what buys have been happening over the last 24 hours. And the reason that this is good is currently this section here, it isn't too full. It's not super hyped up at the moment, but you can get an idea of where the smart money is leaning towards. Now, this will be almost like, it won't necessarily be a leading indicator when it comes down to what people are minting or buying, but it can then give you an idea of what people are moving into and towards. Because if we see, say, Flower Girls, lots of buys over the last 24 hours, it can show you that there might be some momentum. So you can then look at that project, see where the price floor is. If the price floor is sitting quite flat and there hasn't been a pump, then it might be a good time to jump in because the public may actually kind of catch on and start to actually mint or buy into that project, which is good. And the other thing, and like I said, it's not necessarily a leading indicator, but you've got this smart money sells, which comes down to what people are moving out of. So you could then also move out of it quite fast as well if you see these moving. And we can see Wizards and Dragons game, a lot of sales there. Now to show you how you can actually use this, find them on OpenSea and make a buy, just say you see something like Artblocks here, because it has been bought up quite heavily in the last 24 hours. Now, when you actually click on Artblocks, you get the project itself. And you can see here, it's been out for 360 days, and there's 133,000 in the collection. And it'll make sense for those that understand Artblocks. And we can see here that over the past month, it kind of has dipped down. So we can see that there's a dip in average price there, dip here, and we're getting another bottom here, and we can see some volume actually rising up in the price. So you then go, okay, this might be a good time to buy because the bottom is actually kind of around this 0.4 mark. So you're like, okay, let's jump in. What you can actually do is you can actually click on OpenSea. Now, occasionally when you click on OpenSea, it won't actually link you to the correct page, especially with something like Artblocks that has lots of different collections within collections. So you can then head back to the Smart Money tab, and then you can actually right click and go Item Profiler. When you get to the item profiler, it'll give you that particular item. Now, this works for Artblocks, but what we can actually do is you can copy the item ID, you can head to OpenSea, paste in that ID. When you paste in that ID, you will then get all of the IDs. Now, just say it was item 34, you're going to get a lot of item 34s. This works for art blocks because there's such a large run, but you can also do this with the address. Now, what you can actually do is we can actually click on the collection and we can see that it is Gazers by Matt Kane. Now, if we actually head to activity, so this is what Pranksy had bought, and we actually go to the activity tab, and then if we actually scroll down about 27 minutes ago, we can see that Pranksy has bought number 476. So now you know that the project that was hot was art blocks, and you found out that the person was Pranksy. You've then gone over to OpenSea and found the actual account. Then you've got confirmation that that is the purchase because of the activity tab. Now you can then move into a project quite fast. Now 20 minutes might seem like a long time in the NFT space, but if this popped up quite early, you could then move on it, because then if smart money is moving into a particular project with buys or sells, you can then do this. You can use this same process with the sells to see what they're selling, to see if they're selling particularly rare items or if they're just selling off their collection. Because being able to have the tools to have a look at some data, analyze the data and go search for it and get confirmation of what your thesis is very powerful. You don't have to just follow the herd when it comes down to what people are buying and selling, but you're able to get the tools to kind of see what people are doing and analyze it yourself. And just to make it quite easy, just say we come down and we see Smart Money, they have bought Flower Girls in the recent transactions, and we can see that Flower Girls is number 5. So what we can then do is you click on Flower Girls itself. It'll then bring up the project, and then when you have a look at the project, we can see deployed 4 days ago, and then we can see that there's that huge spike and it's kind of bouncing around. Now, what you may notice here is that there has been a pullback when it comes down to the average price, and there's a little pip of volume. It's very tiny, but it looks like the volume had bottomed out and it's starting to rise back up. So what you could then do is you could then hit OpenSea, and Flower Girls will actually connect to OpenSea. You click on the top where it says Flower Girls. Now what you can then do is have a look at the project and see if you'd like to buy it. Now, the fact that this hasn't been revealed yet, I would actually wait for reveal. So why would you want to be using this tab and following what Smart Money does? Well, check this out. So what we can see here is the Smart Money investment and returns. And if you have a look here, we can see that the line is always above it. There have been a couple of little pips down, but other than that, this line that you can see here, the profit and loss, it's pretty much always in profit. So if you're following what Smart Money does, you're then going to be making decisions that they're making and making profitable trades when it comes down to what they're doing. And a tool like this, you're able to kind of see what they're minting. You can mint with them. You can then see what they're selling. You can also see what they're buying to then catch that wave on the way up. It does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of effort, but the statistics aren't lying when it comes down to what trades they're making and how they're actually making their money. So you can then also emulate those types of trades. This is the tool that I think you will get a lot of value out of if you like to poke around and have a look and try to move with what the whales and essentially the Smart Money are doing. Because using a tool like Nansen and the Smart Money tool, you can then see what people are almost doing to then mint, buy or sell and follow what they're doing and follow their trades. So Nansen is a paid software and it is very detailed when it comes down to the data and statistics you can get. I've actually done a tutorial. You can watch it up there. It's quite long, it is quite detailed, but it breaks down some of the other aspects. Because this aspect of Nansen is quite new, that actually isn't in that tutorial, but it shows you how to use the market overview, mint master and blue chip index. So overall, I hope you found value in this video. It's just a tool that I found that I feel like some of you, those of you that actually use Nansen, may actually kind of get a bit of help with, and some of those that are looking for a way to kind of follow what some of the Smart Money are doing, this is an easy way to do it, because without someone making videos like this and explaining how tools like this work, you're never able to kind of explore it, because that paywall essentially may kind of freeze you out and you're skeptical about actually jumping in. I would not be skeptical about jumping into Nansen if you take your NFT trading seriously. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.